right, welcome back to the Desert Well, where we gather every week around the well that is Jesus. You know, one of my lights actually burnt out. I didn't tell you that. So I'm down a light and water on the floor on my mat every day. But the well of Jesus never runs dry and never burns out. That's almost like a contemporary Christian worship song. Anyway, we're glad you're here today. We're talking about change and transition. It's one of those, as you'll hear Derek say, a four-letter word.
I said it was a scary four-letter word, though, so I just about got the saying right.
And so, what did you like most about today? Or why should people listen to it?
How can we process change, and how can we look at it from kind of different aspects? So, of course, the faith aspect, but also how can we process change and walk through change together?
And I think for me, it was the different ways to think about faith. That there really is more than just one phrase than, hey, trust God, it'll be okay. There's more to more than thinking about change in that way. So, glad you're here today as we gather around the well that is Jesus. Enjoy. We're back in our normal clothes now.
Well, I'm in my summer clothes.
At least I'm in my normal clothes. My normal plaid shirt and brown pants.
I might go back to a polo next week, but we'll see.
So I wore a golf shirt yesterday, and someone said, I like your golf shirt. I was like, maybe I need to change my style. Get rid of all of my plaid shirts and get golf shirts.
Yeah, I did notice it yesterday. But
it was weird. So you're a golfer more than I am. Yeah, I mean, more than I am.
You and I, we have golfed the same amount in the last 2 years.
Okay. So then maybe we're the same. But it felt like incredibly long, like large in sleeves and length. Is that a golf shirt thing? You don't know? Okay, well, maybe someone can help us. So today I want to talk about something that we have talked about off camera, maybe a couple times, and I think I've even said in the board meeting and a couple other settings too. And that's the season of like change and transition. So I wrote a newsletter article in May it's called The Lamb's Voice, which I guess that's what it's called.
Yeah.
And it was something like, this was like when I think I first felt it. I'm curious if that's when you first felt it too. It would have been April. Like late March, 1st April. No?
I felt it earlier.
Really?
Well, different roles, so yes.
Okay, sure. Like in different ways?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
I'm really curious about that, but maybe another time. So the thing that I wrote was that it felt like we were entering, like things were bubbling to the surface. You know, at that point it was like what I felt like were things that needed to be dealt with. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't go so far as to call them problems. That's makes it too impersonal, right? It's just things that are happening, things that have been happening that needed to be dealt with. Not easy things. And so I wrote something like, it feels like we're entering this season of change and transition. And do you remember that text I sent you? Though it was some night, I don't know if it was a Friday night or something like that, that I said, Derek, I have the strange sense or feeling that the next year is going to be very hard, and we're going to have to fight to maintain our unity as a church and a school, and everything will be, it was really dramatic, like super dramatic.
I do remember that.
And I like imagine your face now looking at it, I'm like, dude, what? Like,
is Jared having a breakdown?
Are you okay? Like, do we need to have a phone call right now? And so I remember sending you that, and then I wrote about that in the newsletter, and so I'm like, hey, here's how I think we should think about it. And now I feel like we're in, like if that was the wave was starting, like the water was going out for the tsunami, right? And now I'm looking at like we were just at Hoover Dam, and we asked the tour guide how many people are buried in the dam, and they said none. They all are in Lake Mead, and they just found them, a couple of years ago in barrels. I was like, oh, okay. So that's what it feels like in some ways, that the water has come out. We've seen the things that have floated to the surface, but now it's the wave is coming, right? And maybe not a tsunami. I don't want to scare people. It's not a tsunami.
A minor tsunami.
Yeah, there you go. Like, just kill a couple hundred people, not like thousands.
I was going to say more like knee deep and not like...
Okay, there you go. Regardless, so it feels like there's a swell that is building towards something, not like towards an event that's going to happen per se, but like a season of change, whether then maybe a better analogy and less scary is a page turning, right? So we're turning the page, and so it feels like the page is starting to turn, and we're at that point, if you were looking at a book like this, where you're picking it up and the page is turning, but you can't see what's on the other side of the page. You can't see the words on this side, you can't see the other words. And in some ways, if you're really flipping the page, you can't also see how long the story goes. Mm-hmm. Like you don't know. And so I wanted to have a conversation about what do we do in a moment like this? Like what are the things that, yes, exactly. And precisely because it's a real thing that I'm thinking about, and I'm sure you are too. And so as leaders, partners in this, I thought it would be helpful for us to process together. And, obviously I'm interested to, like, how do you think our faith helps us in this? How we think the promises of God apply and all those sort of things.
Oh boy.
So before we dive in,
okay.
What are you, your face right now says, it's the Friday of when school is out, and I was really hoping not to have a hard conversation today.
I've had a lot of conversations today already. So just kind of backstory on the day today. So we started out with devotions at 9 a.m., which you missed a good one, by the way.
I'm sure. I'm sorry.
So, and it was I was thinking about what I wanted to do for devotion after I called you to see if you were coming or not. But then I had a meeting with a teacher, and then I had to stop the meeting like 2 minutes before 9.
To go to devotions.
Hadn't figured out what I was doing for devotions yet. But I landed on Psalm 90, verse... I have to look at it on my phone, but something in Psalm 90. Carrying out the good works.
I have a Bible. Do you want to?
Sure.
Do you want to see the Bible?
I think it's 90 verse 7.
90 verse 7. I'm getting off the camera, which is like totally not what you're supposed to do, but that's okay.
Breaking the what is it,
well, it's not really a third wall because I'm not looking at it. I'm just walking away.
So what was it, 90? I don't know for sure. Oh, okay. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands. So it's 90:17.
There you go. Good for you.
And so I shared that with the staff this morning and brought up two different things. And then one of the devotions that I love to read out of I've mentioned the book, I think, before, Calm Waters, the Lutheran one. It's titled Send Me. And so I paired that also with a quote from another book where it's talking about Luther and what Luther says about the teaching ministry. And that he says that if he were to have to change profession for whatever reason or vocation, that he would become a teacher, and that he struggled to see the preferability essentially between the two roles. So the role of
pastor,
pastor or teacher.
Sure.
And so we talked a little bit about what that meant, and especially with Lutheran education, it'll all be in there. Anyways, so then I talk about all that, and I'm looking at everybody around, and I'm like, this room's not going to be the same next year. There's going to be change. And then we get into the devotion, the Send Me devotion. And may or may not have had a few tears well up in my eyes as I'm reading it, because it's really a good devotion about why we teach and what we get to do as Lutheran teachers. And then we talked about changes and things that are happening and all that. But that's the start of the day. So it's been an emotional day for sure. And then meeting with teachers, talking about, the past year, what do we want to do next year? What are your goals? What are things that we need to work on with students? What are the gaps? Like kindergarten to 5th grade to 3rd grade. Well, what do we need to do in kindergarten? Well, so it's been a busy, productive day where we are talking about changes that we need to make on the school side too.
And what does that produce in you? Are you so some people that would energize them, right? I'm dreaming about the future. It's going to be, I can see it start to materialize, right? It's that I'm flipping the page and I start to see the pictures and the words. But some people, it's this is exhausting to try and imagine what it is and to be involved and focused. And then some people are probably also I just hate this and I don't want to talk about that because I don't.
I think it's energizing. It's also draining.
Right.
So it's one of those I love having conversation, and I even told one of them, I was like, I've got a long list of things to do, but this is the most important thing. It's the relationship.
One-on-one with staff, right?
Well, and we met as grade level too. So we've done individuals, we've done grade level, all school, lots of things. And I would say none of the teachers are afraid of change. And they want it. So change for us at this school is probably different.
I was going to say, explain that more.
Than a lot of people's idea of change. Because what's the saying? Change is the scariest 4-letter word, something like that. Even though it's not 4 letters, so I've never
Change is a 4-letter word.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was close.
Got the right collection of words, just not in the right order.
Can you tell where my brain is at today?
Don't worry, it's still in your head.
Yes. I think there was a kindergarten teachers, maybe not, maybe it was the 1st grade. But anyways, we were talking about something. I was like, the information is in here, guys. It's just the processor is struggling right now.
There you go. Or the hard drive is still clicking.
I did mention the hard drive.
Yeah.
So it's different. I think that on the school side of things, it's one of those things where if we're not changing, if we're not working towards continuous improvement, innovation in areas, and when I mean innovation, I don't mean we're following the latest trends, right? But thinking outside the box in ways that we become stagnant, and when we become stagnant, that is not the direction that we want to be going. And so change on the school side is more continuous, and so we're more used to it.
Right. It's mandatory almost.
Yeah, I would say that it is. Not almost, I would say it is, right?
Sure.
And talking through some things, right? It's different, dynamics. Some are struggling with some of the changes and things that are going on, just even on the school side. And others are we need to go.
Can we do it right now?
And so working through that and understanding some changes are over a long period of time, but others are just rip the Band-Aid off.
Right.
And so maybe I'm more used to and process change a little differently. And so I'm not as surprised when things happen. And maybe that's why I responded to your text the way that I did.
Sure, whatever, dude.
No, I didn't say whatever, dude. I said something along the lines of...
I truthfully don't remember what you said.
I think I said, I feel it too, but not to the extent that you might.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Again, the processor's going slow, so I'm trying to remember back to...
this is a month and a half ago, so that's a pretty good... I don't think I can remember many people's text messages that I sent them a month and a half ago.
Well, I remember that one because I remember thinking about how I was going to respond to it.
That's right. How do I respond to this guy? What on earth?
So I think that there's at least in the majority of my role, my world, is the change and changes that are happening and that we're seeing and feeling are maybe not as like high of a wave,
Sure.
right? Still important, still you could call it a tsunami, but it's not the 100-foot wave. It's the
Maybe it's
knee-deep kind.
it's a lazy river, but it's not a circle. It's like a
But it's not a circle.
yeah, like lazy rivers are usually a circle. And so how can you have change if you're just going lazy river in a circle?
I was I was thinking more. It's not a lazy, or it's a lazy river. It's not like whitewater
Right, there you go.
rafting
Okay,
or something.
okay, that's better. There you go. Like, because there's whitewater rafting, there's lots of unexpected things, and the lazy river sometimes has like, those little waterfalls that you can go under. And
Sure.
that's kind of unexpected, but it's not like I'm gonna die, kind of thing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Long answer to your question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember what the question was, but
Well, what do you?
I remember we were talking about change and like the reaction to it and stuff.
Right. So I hear that, and maybe it's the differentiator of like it's the profession, right? Like a teacher always is learning. They're supposed to be anyway, right? And it's like pastors should always be learning, as any leader should be. And maybe that makes it more easy. But then maybe it's also like the type of change that makes it different.
Yeah.
Right, because when you're talking about like, oh, how can we improve the learning? How can we improve our coordination among staff?
Even some of those conversations are system-based too.
Sure.
And so, we're seeing a lot of change in our systems and things that we do just as an organization. But even for them, it's like, okay, well, how do we need to change our system so that we are all evaluating the same way or using the same, set of, like, I don't want to say guidelines, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
we're all striving towards the very same specific
And so that was
goal.
a question that I asked a couple of the groups was, is this a you issue or is this a grade level issue or is it a systems issue?
Sure.
And all three of those could be true.
I was going to say, I'm curious what.
And it's like, well, if it's a you issue, then how do we improve it? If it is a grade level issue, then we need to collaborate about it. If it's a systems thing, then let's collaborate about it, but even on the bigger scale.
Right.
So there is an element of that too, but it's not necessarily the same level.
Just the same thing. Okay. Because and maybe it's just my own issues. I've said that a lot lately too. Like I need to just get over these things and deal with them. But when I think about the perception I have of the change, that's the transition, I feel like it's a better word, right? Because change sometimes isn't necessarily intentional, right? But like a transition usually is. And the transition that feels like it's happening is almost a concrete, but also yet ethereal. Is that the right word? Ethereal, or what? Like that word that means mysterious, kind of like outside this world. Like it's not even a tangible thing, and that's what makes it even more strange to me, and perhaps more scary, is that it's not even besides just Pam sleeving. It's it's just a general feel that we're entering into something different. And so when you manage change, when you manage those things with your staff, I'm curious, what are the things like when you experience not pushback, but like how do you help guide them through it? Like what do you feel like are the tools that you use?
It depends on what it is, but
well, sure, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I I don't know, I'm trying to think of something specific, but I mean, sometimes it's just a matter of like, this is the way that it is. And other times it's like, well, this is what we want to do, so how do we get there?
Right.
What do we need to change to get there? So it's working with them too, but I think also empowering them to be a part of the discussion and to be a part of the final decisions that are made about whatever it is. I think it goes along with that with a lot of things. But bigger change issues, I mean, we've had a number of them already, right? Where it's just, guys, this is what's going on. We're going to keep you informed as best we can through whatever is next. Like, I don't know that there's much more that we can share with you at this point because we don't know what we don't know yet. And I think that there's a level of comfort in knowing that like, we will look at it and kind of take it head on and then deal with it the best that we can and share our reasonings why we did what we did in the way that we did.
Sure. And so it's less like managing people's desires and more about helping guide them through?
Yeah, probably. And
Because
just understanding that, I mean, on a staff of, 25 on the elementary side and 18 or so on the preschool side, so 40 people, nobody's going to respond the same.
Right.
And so you're going to have people who are very excited about the things that you're telling them and very not excited about what you're saying. Right. So how can you navigate both those waters? You just be present and be real.
There are certain like change words that I feel like are buzzy type words. So like change, we're going to be transparent in our change. That feels like a buzzy.
I hate that word.
Like
though.
Transparency. At least as much as I want to.
I mean, and I'm not saying I hate that word because I don't like being transparent. It's just one of those things that I think is overused, and so it's like.
That's why it's a buzzword.
Yeah.
Like a transparent in what way, with what things, to what level. Like I'm not going to tell you my every single thought. You don't want to know that, right? Like you don't want to know all of the. Well, what about this? What about that? What about this? That would drive you crazy. So then let's talk about like the faith side of this. So in trying to discern, because we interviewed great candidates for Pam's role, and I usually, I'm curious, do you see me as like a once I've made a decision, I've made my mind up kind of person? Like, do you see me as like a...
No, because you go back and you reflect.
Okay. So I like to see myself as a high conviction, once I've made my decision, I'm pretty confident in it, and it's hard for me sometimes to slow down and go back, right? That's the whole, I'm drained to galvanize people because I've arrived at the right decision, I've told you the right decision, so let's just do it. Why do I need to tell you why we should do it, kind of thing. And it was hard for me because we had great candidates, all of them, and they're all very different. And was it yesterday you were telling me? Just remember, what did you tell us at the staff devotions? So we did, which was really great. Your idea. I think it was your idea. We had staff worship at the end of the year. So it was
an us idea.
Okay. Were we? It might have started with you. How's that? I don't want to take credit for it. It was just that great. So it was all preschool staff. Well, just the teachers, right? Well, yeah. Well, no, it was everybody. All teachers.
There was a few
staff.
people that weren't able to make it, but it was
right. Mostly everybody.
I'd say 95% of the employees here. Yeah.
Which is crazy because,
and not just school employees.
Yeah, I mean, there were maintenance people there too. Like it was really, really awesome. I don't know. We don't ever do anything like that. Like, do we? Maybe we have one all-staff meeting at the start of the year.
And we did a little bit of like a worship thing at the beginning of the year, but it wasn't like that yesterday.
I don't even remember doing that. Did I lead that?
Yeah.
See, like I said,
but I don't remember what it was.
The whole I don't
but
remember.
I know we did something. I think it was more of devotional than like a worship time.
Okay.
But yes.
And so it's just very unique that we have everyone together, right? Because whether it's
just hard
there's kids here,
Yeah.
right? And so there need to be people who are with them, and that means somebody can't be here. You know, there's facility things that need to be dealt with, and so they can't be here. It was very unique. And so the blessing to be together in that way and have that time at the end of the year to kind of spend some time reflecting, looking forward, all those sort of things. But I don't remember what exactly you told me. Do you remember what you told me yesterday? It was something about trusting God, something.
That it is God working through you and through us. It's not us. Something along those lines.
Right.
Like,
Oh, yes, yeah, okay, sorry. It's coming back to me. So what I shared with teachers, staff, I guess we could call them, was from Ephesians 3. The God who's able to do far more abundantly than we ask, think, or imagine, according to the power that is at work with us. So what I said to them was, hey, all of this is because God is at work in you, not because you're a good teacher, not because you've made the best lesson plan, whatever it is. It's God at work in you. And so it's really funny.
That you were the one.
Yeah,
sharing
like so
that.
I said that, which maybe probably makes me a hypocrite, which I am. I'm a sinful, broken
Not
person.
necessarily, because I'm guessing like the reason you said it is because it was something that you also needed. But when you're the person that says it, like I say things all the time, like, wait, did I actually like did I say that the way that you're telling me? Okay, but it's hard to hear yourself in those messages.
Although they always say if it doesn't speak to you first, it won't speak to anyone else, which is also true. Like if your sermon is not moving to you, then it's probably not going to help anybody else.
Which I would agree to maybe some extent, but I think in this case though too, there's something can be repeated to you. It's like,
Oh yeah, no,
hey,
absolutely. I'm just like a low bar of
Yeah.
entry. Like if it doesn't do this, then you got to at least like, come on, you can do a little better than that.
but I know lots of people yesterday were moved by it, so which is why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Right. So anyway, the thing that you told me was that God is going to work through this. He's going to make it be whatever it is to be, and there's so much great comfort that's found in that, because I'm also the type of person that I've gotten a lot better, but I'm also the type of person who wants to know I'm making the absolute best right decision. And okay, you get a resume, maybe you know the person, and you ask them a few questions to answer beforehand, and then you sit down with them for 35, 40 minutes, and then I'm supposed to be able to make an accurate decision about who you are and if you're going to be good for, this role. I mean, it's just kind of crazy in general. But the same is true for like the call process. You had, an interview, 2 interviews with me. Like that's enough to feel like you get to know me enough to call me as your forever pastor, which is what a call is, right? That's crazy. Crazy talk. But that's where the side of faith comes into it, I think. And I believe and find great comfort and hope in that.
Yeah, well, and I think that's where, I don't want to get into this too deep, but there are some elements of why even interview anybody in the first place, like for calling them.
Sure.
Like, shouldn't you just trust that God has given you the right person? And while I think that there is that level of trust in the process, I think God still gives us the ability to discern through
You have a brain
interviewing.
in your head.
Correct.
There you go, full circle.
It's still processing.
That's right, it's still working. You still have been given the gift of reason and logic.
Yes. But yeah, it's a tough one, and I don't know, I think it's like a lot of decisions, though, where you contemplate it, you think about all the pros and cons, all sides of it, and then you just have to say, well, this is the best choice.
Right.
And you just kind of have to
Well, it's
go with it.
it's the best choice, and I trust and believe that God is big enough that even if I'm making the wrong choice, He is able to make it work.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's two sort of paths you could run down with change, with trying to manage a transition. Right. There's the like apathy, the throw your hands up, whatever will be kind of attitude. Right. God's got it. Whatever, and we can
Jesus, take the wheel.
right. And what did
I
I tell?
reference that because
What did I tell you last week?
Jesus has had the wheel the whole
That's
time.
right.
That's
myth
the funny part of the
that you tell yourself is that you ever were driving the car in the first place, which.
But that's somewhat true in this
Yeah.
too, right? Anyways, go ahead. What was the second part?
So like that's the first part. The second would be the exact opposite of that, and that would be the I need to make all of these decisions, and I need to make sure they're all right and perfect and good. In some ways, a complete lack of faith, right? And so it's the how do we do both in some ways, because you think about Scripture and the way in which it talks. James talks about not necessarily planning a whole bunch and kind of letting our yes be yes and no be no. But then you hear people like Paul who talk about having a plan. I want to do this, but the Holy Spirit has said no. The door hasn't opened to me or something like that. And so it's really, there's no such thing as a middle road, but it's almost like the Mary Martha thing. So this is completely unrelated, but let me tie back in. So the story, right? Mary, Martha, Jesus there. Martha is the one who is cleaning. Mm-hmm. Is that right? And Mary is sitting at his feet.
I don't. I know the story, but
I'm a good pastor, I promise. Whoever is, I think it's Martha. Martha is the one who is cleaning, and Mary is at his feet. That sounds right.
Because it's
well, yeah. So then she gets angry and says, "Come on, tell her to help out. She's just sitting there doing nothing." And he says, "Well, she's chosen the better thing." And the point we sometimes take is, "Hey, I need to not do anything and just sit at the feet of Jesus." And really, I think you open it up a little bit more and you can see, hey, it's about, well, what do you need to hear? If you're the person who's always working and never sitting at the feet of Jesus, then you need to hear, sit at the feet of Jesus. It's good for you. If you're the person who's always sitting at the feet of Jesus and is not concerned for their neighbor who needs them for, whatever reason, you need to hear, that's good, you're sitting at the feet of Jesus, but don't ever forget, your neighbor needs you, right? And so in this sense, it's a, hey, which one do I need to hear, right? And so yesterday, I needed to be reminded, dummy, you're not in control, right? You can do the best discerning that you can, and God could tell you no, right? And so in that moment, I needed the faith of, hey, remember, God is driving the car. Jesus has the wheel.
Yeah, well, it is comforting to know, even if we mess up that decision, that's part of the process though too, and that's part of being in it, and that's part of God working in the whole thing anyways. That maybe it was it's a not yet type of thing, right? This person was there for this time to fill a role, and actually I was bringing you this person that's going to be
right,
whatever. And that can be true for not just, of course, people, but
right,
just any decision. You're going to make this decision so that I actually get you to this point.
Right. And so when we think about the transition, the season of change, whatever you want to call it, that's happening, I think that's the framework, right, to try and hold in front of myself and other people, that on one hand, God is guiding this because that's how God works. He's in control. He's over all things, right? My one of my elders, he was really big on the Ascension. That was his favorite church holiday. And in some ways he's very right. It's very overlooked. But it's very important because ascension happens, the Holy Spirit can come. Because ascension happens, the return of Christ will come. Now he's reigning and ruling, interceding before us on the. I mean,
Sure.
there's a lot there.
Oh, yeah.
And so he actually sent us a card for Ascension Day, and it took me.
That's awesome.
I don't think he listens to these, but it took me a while to connect. Like Emily opened up and goes, "Is this like a Christmas card? Like just really late?" I was like, "No, it says this postmark like May 12th. Like they probably sent it." And then it like hit me in like a ton of bricks and said, "Oh, he sent it because it's the Ascension Day. Like, Jesus is in heaven now, reigning over all things." Anyway, so like that kind of trust when people are, I don't know if they're nervous or fearful of the future, that it's the returning to the promises of what I said to teachers, right, and to myself, that God is able to do far more with the good things and the bad things than we could ever ask or imagine. And there's a certain level of, all right, you've got it, God. And there's comfort that comes from that. But then there's also comfort that comes from knowing God is a God of means and uses people with brains in their head. Yeah, I mean, there are horrible things of like children who are born with brains outside their head, which is a very sad thing. But anyway, sorry, I don't know why that just came to my head.
I was like, your brain just took you there. Okay.
Yeah, I forget. I don't. Yeah, anyway, so we're gonna move on from that. And so there's also like the side of, hey, there's great comfort that comes from knowing God uses means, and you are that means, right? That you as principal administrator, God uses you to move things, to be a part of that. And the image too of, it's not, yes, sure, you're the title, but it's the staff, right? And so one of my favorite things about staff worship was the fact that I forced us all to sit at the front. And I don't think too many people got angry about that.
See, I think nobody said anything.
So I had to move a couple of people, and they kind of gave me like a weird look.
Well, I think we did that in the fall, though, too.
Oh, did we?
Because I think some people sat on the sides, were like, no, in the middle.
Right, and so I roped off the back two pews, and there's like probably 4-ish people in almost every pew.
We know one thing that we didn't have to say?
Nobody sat by themselves. What?
We didn't have to say preschool mixed with elementary,
Right.
church mixed with...
Sure.
They just did it.
Right. And so for that reason, it's like hey, the language of we are we, the language that, we need each other, we need you specifically, all of that stuff, again, is a comforting thing, because it's not I've said it once, I've said it a million times, this is not my church. It's not your school, right? We are merely here to serve as we pray every time when we meet. Give us the wisdom to lead, discern, all those sort of things. And so it's not everything comes down to law gospel, because that's kind of what this is. But it's more of a what, in the middle of this page turn, what do we need to hear? And I mean, I'll be honest, I'm way over here right now still. I think I've said it here, the thing that's on my wall up there, you can't see it. Not by strength or by might, but by my spirit, says the Lord of armies. My mentor, Barry, who we've met on here, he gave that to me and said, hey, I hear you saying like you're going to do a lot. Like you're going to make whatever happen. And so it was a humbling thing. And now it's like I need this.
Well, and I want to go back to something too. You said that there wasn't a middle road between those two.
Sure. Like there's not a middle road.
I think I would disagree.
That's like you can't, I'm just going to walk down the middle, Like we say that, but there's no such thing. Like life is lived like this, right? Like you waver from one side to the other. Maybe you like jump over the middle without even realizing it. But I just think we so often think, I can just walk right down the middle. So you disagree? Tell me why.
I do disagree a little bit.
You're allowed to disagree a lot.
But I'm very much so a middle person, so
I know.
I operate in that like middle ground most of the time. Where I would say with some change and some things that happen, it's very much emotional, very like, what am I going to do? But then on the other side, it's like, what am I going to do? Well, I don't know, but I know that God's got it, and there's comfort and calm in that. And then, so maybe I do agree that you bounce back and forth more
Maybe
so than
Derek's like, I don't want to bounce back and forth like on the extremes. I'm more like a middle bouncer.
that you do kind of go back and forth between those. But I think you can still be terrified of the things that are not yet known, while also knowing that the terror is somewhat unfounded.
Right.
That, and you said this again yesterday too, that it could be either immeasurably more
In a good way?
or in a bad way too, right? In the way that we weren't expecting. So I think that that's an okay thing to have as an emotion though too. That, I mean, God says fear not, but why does he have to tell us to not fear?
Because we're fearful people.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think if I bounce around, it's more just like short oscillation between the two.
I could see that. And I think in some ways that's like that would be the ideal if we were striving for something, right? Like if you wanted to.
I'm not ideal, I can tell you that much.
Well, none of us are. That, we'd much. It's sort of Silas is an extremely emotional kid, almost 3 years old, and to the moon highs, like it's like Christmas morning every day, at least once or twice, right? And then it's like into the floor. I'm crying because of something, and my world is collapsing around me, right?
Yep.
And we'd say, okay, like let's learn about this thing called emotional regulation and like try and live ourselves in this little line. But he's 3, so he doesn't understand that, or get that, or can do that. But when we think about the change and transition, it's those two things that I think help the person who's nervous and afraid, who's apprehensive, who is concerned about the future. Well, maybe I'm just have issues, and I think everyone is afraid, and everyone's concerned, and maybe they're all excited. I don't know.
All the above would be true, probably. But I would say to lean into your analogy of the turning the page, not knowing what's on the other side, right? You might not know what text is written on the other side, but you do know who the author is.
Right.
And so that's where your trust can be, that it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, of course.
Well, you're talking on the spectrum, right? Like, you're over here now.
Should I bounce back to that side?
No. I like where you're going.
I don't know where I was going after that.
You said you're not the one who's writing the story, right? So it's hey, yes, God uses means, but remember, he's the one who's in control. And that the page turn, you can't see it, and you don't know necessarily what's coming, but you know the author of salvation.
Well, maybe it's kind of this too, that God is using, again, means to turn the page.
Right. I mean, that's the
page can turn on its own.
Right. Well, in some ways, like Leah
or by
said,
the wind,
the page will turn on its own. It's if we're willing to turn it intentionally and choose to write rather than be written of in some ways. And the reality too is that, Lord willing, this school will be around a long time after we're gone. And so in that sense, we are both interim principal and pastor. Right? Assuming that the church and school does not close in our time, we will be an interim. There will be someone else. And
that's what we talk about too.
Right. In that there's, some way, that's not meant to be a scary thing, but it's a both humbling and a purpose-giving activity or way to think about it. Like, I'm not going to be here forever. Someday I will die,
Yep.
But I also want to leave this place better than I found it. I want to set this place up for the future. I want to take the people somewhere that long after I'm gone they don't need me in some ways.
It's all good things. But it's that change. It's the 4-letter word. There's a lot of emotions and things that go behind it, but I think that it's the intentionality of it, trusting that God is at work in the process, not knowing what's on the other side, but knowing that what is on the other side is already pinned, and that we can trust that when that will be revealed to us, that we're on the other side of things, and we can be like, aha, look at God work.